Kudos to our chefs, our caterers. Kristen, who's our caterers? Gotta mention their oh, Elaine. Yeah, Elaine Smith from Gunny. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Free food. I just kind of, oh my goodness. You go up quick. Hello. On the land of the how many millions is that there? Oh, all right. Millions of fans online. So we're gonna start with a prayer. So those of you guys, we always, this is something that I kind of omitted the last couple of times that we're here. We just jumped right into our language program, and that's so eager. But we need to start, I need to explain this, that Timwishka is very important amongst the Blackfoots, the Siksika, the Gani, Dana. It's always, before we begin any session like this, a powwow, a meal, or if you're having a conference, and I would always begin our evenings with a prayer, a very positive prayer. Let's thank the rain that came. My goodness, that was good rain, eh? Woo! I love that. You got to respect the rain and the wind. I got 6 stitches on my head because of that. I do. I tell you, rain, you got to respect the elements. And that, if you're not careful with what's happening, I'll confuse the environment and that. And if you don't respect and be aware of your rain, the elements can hurt you. And that's what happened to me right on my head. The rain and the wind together and that with my vehicle. My goodness. I got 6 stitches on my head, by the way, but I'm okay. Okay, so we're going to begin. And then those of you who were at my last session, we're just going to complete what we started, and that was the animals. So Kristen, have we got the handouts from last week and this week? No? What?
I'm looking in here.
Where's my
I don't know. Well, we have it online. I don't know. I don't have the printout like the physical ones of last time.
The last time, yeah. Anybody got them in their binder? Our animals from the last, we have about 20. Actually, we do have lots of animals we want to get through. Yeah, our animal study. And then we're going to go into the first hour. We're going to finish off our animal study. And then we're going to introduce another portion of our family structures. And we talked about that last time and that, but we're going to get into the marriage type of structures that we have. Okay, now before we go on, everybody, we're going to do our prayer. Now, after we do our prayer and that, I don't know if anybody showed you this, but you take your right hand and you put it right here to your heart, right? And it just go, hey, okay? What's that? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, we have a prayer too. Okay, Ayo is the bad POP. Kita man says here to screen. Kamatuni to kanay sinyo it's been no nagka. Suta. Kita ni panas nagawa simuishka. Ay sukaman gusto mo kiwa. Nakita ni pisafti mo ko ka. And the economy is to be sick, so you get the scoot kayo is the bad POP. Kita no ay mo doy. Ka po kaman gusto panom. Kanok sini kana suka tinidad sini mas sini. Kung kikini taksini sini things sini kini sini po sini. Nakapini mo tamo kinakuha tapi sini. Na stupio na sinabi ko sini. Ito makita pili na sa tayo suka man mo kini sa sumo. Kakana pi which bad piece, oh, kinukunda is the bad piece. Okay, it's topish, I can understand it's the what the bad piece. Oh, kinukos and nanix, next of course, and nanix. Oh, it's bad for a big doctor to tiny my god. And the guy to box so look who connect the mood, see what he connects to see. Oh, I can say you got him to me, it's a bad piece. Without that's cinemas, this second a couple guys got cinemas, mother to Simonia. Nakita as cinemas. Nakita ni pomio, just by the period, sit down, it's in the Katunia, when the sit down, the Sukupiso, and it's cinemas. Oh, kispada ko yung pinakasta po kamanusok sa security. Ay, so kamanusok panaki kamot na kinita kapis and kimisabi pa kapis. Everyone? Hey. Hey, all right. Okay, so we're going to finish off our animal study. Now we need to understand, why do we need to have an animal study? Well, we are, as indigenous people, part of the environment, and that we need to understand the animals, and they actually communicate with us too, right? If there's one thing that's constant, then I'm not too sure if anybody shared this with you. In our calendar moons, we have animals. Okay? For instance, okay, I'm just going to read it. I think Elvin Mountain Horse touched on this. Our calendar moons are not based on some demigod or some Greek god, and that it's all nature based. It's something that happens within the environment, our immediate environment, right? The animals. Okay, let's go with right now. We're into the moon of Pististica, which means the flower blossom moon. Okay, so that's this moon that we're on right now. The month before that, we call it Matsikapisati, which was the frog moon. That was April. Okay, and going back, March, Saekiso. Sae is the duck, right? And of course, those are all things that happen within our environment, and that we know that these things happen because nature does not lie. If anything is consistent to that, we know that the sun's going to shine, right? And the moon's going to come at a full moon, and there's going to be a cycle in that. With each cycle, something different happens in it. So, wow, yeah. They come back from their migration, right? So that's in what did I say, April, March? Then you go into February, and we're into what we would call the Bite-Piso. Bite-Piso, which means the eagle moon, the moon of the eagle, okay? So, it's all environment, right? There's no borrowing of anybody else. Those vocabulary, the calendars and that are from here. We developed those languages and that. And we're dating back to hundreds and hundreds of years. Those moons have been with us since, in the days of the buffalo, in the days of the dog, right? Those are our calendar moons. And we go into January. Everybody, we're celebrating January, and the Big Apple comes falling down in Manhattan. We call that, there's two different kinds. Either it's a very scarce moon. What that means is that we didn't have enough food for that winter, because we know that January is the coldest month of the entire year. We call that food. Only if you are scarce in your supplies that you were eating. Otherwise, it's called Oksikisu, the old moon. Okay? We're kind of going backwards. Next month, the next calendar moon that we're going to celebrate on the 23rd, it's something that happens. We call that Misamsuta. What does that mean? Long rain. Misamsuta. Yeah. Misamsuta is something that's going to happen. Now think of 1995, the flood of the century, right? When did that happen? That happened right here in June. I remember that. The entire river valley right here was just submerged, and I couldn't even see the fort. I remember that. And then prior to that, probably the next flood, Mike and I will probably remember 67. Massive flood back in the 60s. Yeah. And I remember, nothing, not 67, because I was 65, I think. Yeah. I remember the storm of 67, the blizzard. But anyways, but those things happened at Misamsuta, June, right? And in 2013, we just about canceled the Calgary Stampede because the whole area of that, where the Stampede grounds was submerged in water. When did that happen? June, Misamsutam. Does nature lie? No, it doesn't. Nature does not. It's something that we rely on. We have stories within ourselves about the stars, okay? And why we have stories about the 7 stars? Because each season, the Big Dipper is gonna change, right? It's gonna point down, maybe the tail of it's gonna be this way, and the Dipper will be up, and so forth. Of them. Why we do that is we need to be aware of where we are, because we're in the prairies, right? And if you look at north, okay, where like I'm lost. I mean, Medicine Hat, but where's north of that? That's why we need to be very aware of the stars and so forth, right? What moon we're at. I would never dare in the 60s go down to the rivers. It's really dangerous to go to the river. Not that see what's been all right, but especially May, June, because they're dangerous. We have to respect those things. Okay, so then it brings us to August. Right? August is called Mini or Okunoki Otsite. Long word, right? What did I say in August? The blueberries ripen. Right? No, that's July, right? I'm getting ahead of myself, right? September. Okay, that's July. Now we bring to August. August is Bucky feast. Bucky feast are your choke cherries. Again, we'll use that word utsite, which means when the choke cherries ripen. With those calendar moons in that, it really indicates to the societies, to the groups that are out and about in camps and so forth. Wait, what moon are we in? Oh, it's July. Meaning it's Bucky, which is that's all you're doing. You just gather lots and lots of berries for the winters, right? Winter's coming. September, my birth date, my birth month is Awakasikisun, the deer moon. The deer, Awakasikisun, right?
It's not
Yeah, that's the DEER, not the DA. The deer moon. So, they're very nature-based. It's something that happens within nature because nature does not lie to us, right? And then we're going to October. And this is when it is so, right? I know. Yan naman, ito sinaplayan. Yan sa katatastaksino. We call that neat beasts, which is tendency. Neat beasts are the leaves when they dry and they fall. Does that happen in October? Oh, yeah, of course. It happens consistently, moon after moon after moon. And then we go into November, and then we call that Itotsui, which means the cold weather arrives. Okay? Does that happen in October? Oh, yeah, you bet you start putting on our moon boots and our jackets. So those things are consistent in the sense that every moon is the same. We don't call it the blue moon or the cherry moon or what's another moon they call blood moon, right? Oh, yeah, it is. And it brings us to December. Now, Misamiku, long nights, the long night moon. Okay? So nature is our calendar, right? When you start to think about December and that, we're always thinking about, I gotta go do my shopping. I gotta go do, I gotta start decorating and so forth and that. But that society that was, the civilization that was, the 6 gates that we moved, we reacted according to the calendar moons, right? So that's why it's important that we know the animals' names, because we learn from the animals. How far did we get on the animals? Kristen, how far did we get?
It's frozen.
No, I gotta entertain you guys. No. Oh,
Birds.
I think all right. So we've done animals who live by the water. We did wild animals like the rodents and so forth, and we did that. Animals with paws and claws, and then our canines. We didn't do the reptiles yet. Amphibians, reptiles, amphibians. I think we're doing birds. Yeah, that's where we ended off, right? No, birds.
It's
March was Saakis, right? That was the duck moon. So, we know that these mallards and the ducks and that, those of you who are around in the 60s and early 70s and that, you'll attest every March, rest assured, our skies just get so dark and black because of the migration of the ducks coming back. And you could just hear them. It's just like the skies are just black. And it's just like these ducks are coming back home. And you think, oh, yeah, that's consistent. That's consistency right there, right? So even today, I think we have a 12-month duck moon, right? These ducks don't go anywhere. They stay. Yeah. So in essence, when you start to look at nature and you start to see ducks in November, December, and into January, you start to kind of wonder, hey, what's happening? Why are they here? You start to wonder what's happening within our own environment, right? Those type of signs. So Saaki Sum, of course, and going to the Maxi Saaki Sum, and I live in an area where there's a runoff on both sides, and frogs galore. They're just all really loud. I just tell you, just like hundreds of frogs and that. It's really consistent.
Is this water?
I think we've done that. Go to the birds. Yeah, right there. Stop right there.
Ah!
We done that. And we have stories about animals, and we have stories about names. We have names based on the animals, right? Eagle bear, right? Plain eagle is another name here amongst the Blackfoot's another eagle, the eagle speaker, right? Bad eagle, eagle child, beat that buka. Yeah, all these names of that are based on animals, calling, right? So those are our handouts that we have. And Kristen, we don't have any handouts.
Dane's printing some. If some people have them, share at your table.
Sorry, if you have some from the last time and I share them with your table. I'm going to take this one.
In a minute. Okay, we're good.
Oh, yeah, we're good. We're going to do birds. We are going to do birds. As we said earlier in that, we rely heavily on nature, right? Nature provided us with 3 basic necessities. One animal did that, and that was the imi, right? The imi. Without the imi and that, we built our teepees, nitoys, and we had our clothing. And based on those cultures and how we dressed in that, there was a group of people west of us, we call them the Pikani. The Pikani means the Scandi people, right? So that was something that they acquired, their name in it. It's the name they still have. It's 2024, but that was the name that was given to them in the days of the buffalo. Pikani. So let's begin with Pita. Now, Pita is, of course, an eagle, right? And you say, Pita. If you look at that, you think, hey, that's that little store over here, a Pita pit, right? No, it's pronounced ba. Remember, the P is a ba sound. Pita. Pita. Oh, Susie, you're here. Susie, she's here. I had to say that. No, Susie, she drives when Susie, she's here now. So, Pita, if you see an eagle up there, just think of Pita, right? There's different species of Pita, but I'm going to go into these 2 right here. The bald eagle, you call it the bald eagle in English, but in our Blackfoot, it's Xikini. Xixinatsi is the first word of the animal. Okay? Xixinatsi is white, right? So Xixinatsi, this paper right here, Xixinatsi. Okay? The second word, kini, is the head. Kini. That's I'm kind of getting like that. You want to be kini. Yeah. White head, right? So, in essence, of vitality, which is more accurate, the bald eagle or kini? Yeah, I think the white head would be more accurate than. I don't think these things are bald. They got lots of white hair. Kini, okay? Bald eagle. Now, this one here, make note of this one here, okay? This is Utekimutukan. Utekimutukan, it describes the color of the golden eagle. Utekim is kind of like a rust color. Utekim, right? Utukan is the head, right? So it's kind of a rust brown colored bird. Utekimutukan. 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 Now, this particular bird is the choice of the Bloods for their regalias. If you see a person with a headdress, this is the preferred animal, bird, that they use for that headdress. Okay? Nice black and white sashes, those are the ones that they use, preferably. This is their choice, right? If you're going to give eagle feathers as a gift to an elder, or if you're going to, if you want to build the headdress, this would be the animal of choice. Why? Because Utekimutukan is not they won't eat roadkill. Golden eagle, they've discovered that through the years and that it does not eat any carcasses, it hunts. It hunts. It is an apex predator, right? It'll hunt. And he won't run over a gopher, right? Well, this one here, he's not going to swoop down and have a little snack. He's going to hunt. He wants to hunt. That's the animal why we wear those feathers, because of that. He's a very proud animal, right? So, Susie, when you give me a feather, make sure it's a black and white from a golden eagle. Yeah, and they better have a permit too. Eh? So the hawk. Now there's different hawks out there. There's the red-tailed hawk and so forth and that. But this is the most common hawk. We just call it ayenima. Ayenima. Yeah, ayenima. Ayenima. What does that mean? Is that on their talons when they come down, they grab you. Ayenima, right? They use their, they grab you. Ayenima, the hawk. So let's go through them really quick. Repeat after me. Pita. Everybody. Again. Again. All right. Think about Blackfoot name that has pita. If you know anybody? I know lots of folks. Yeah? Pita. You guys know who Pita is? Did you guys watch the Oscars? Or the Golden Globes? That was her name. Eagle woman, yeah. Oh, Pita Putaki. Wow, eagle flight woman. Yeah, eagle flight. Pita and Putta is when they fly, and of course, Aki. Who gave you that? Oh, hey, Charlie. Oh, hey, awesome name. So there's names out there with these particular. Now, there is, of course, an animal that's not part of the. Well, is it an amphibian or is it a bird? A bat. What's a bat? Is it part of is it a reptile or is it a bird? The man. Okay, well, the bald eagle, we translate that to makakipita, okay, which translates to a bat. Yeah. We do have bats, right? Yeah. And they don't come in and start sucking on the blood and stuff like that. We call them oxbiaki, which is another word for them and that, but yeah. Bald eagle, chickini. Huh? Chickini. White head. Not the, so if you put it in brackets beside it with your pen, white head. White head. Chickini. Utekini, the guy was the golden eagle. And it talks about the rust color head. Rust, right? Rust brown. Utekini, the guy. There's my son. What's he doing? He's having a pop. That's what he's doing. I caught him. Iron Niman is a hawk. It grabs him. Okay, so those are some birds. Okay. These are birds of prey. That's how this. Fish stew. Do I have that? Nope. Fish stew. Fish stew. Yeah, fish stew. Yeah, that's another word. That's another form of hawk. Eh? Fish stew. Now this one here is a sparrow hawk. And if you look at it tonight, it looks like a puff, but it's a buck, right? The P is always going to be a buck. So it's this C, this C, this C, that's sparrowhawk. This C. You know, some of the, you're not really familiar with some of the blends that are in Blackfoot. For me. Yeah, you know, going to school, Blackfoot was my first language, and that, yeah, we really have problems with different blends because we don't have, what's that?
Same frame. Online people.
Oh, hey.
They're like, where did he go?
I'm right here. Move your camera with me. Hey, I don't want to just stand here and talk. I like to move around.
Fresh little tables.
Oh, wait, hold on. Tell me when you can't see me. Right here. Okay. Can you still see me here?
You're good.
Okay. Millions of fans out there. You got lots of fans. So the animals, of course, we have to give them names. And this is, of course, a sparrowhawk. This that blend right here at the KSI is C. When you're spelling the word kiss, right? You spin that wheel and there's a K. Oh, K. And then, of course, Vanna White will put a K there, right? Spin it again. Okay, S. And then there's KS. That's part of the blends that we have, right? So think of those blends, and the KSI is C. Spell it KSEE. C. Okay. And of course, the P is a buck. Now, here is an animal. A little bit of story here is the owl. Seep-the-stew. Seep-the-stew is the night caller. It translates to the night caller. Okay? Owl, seep-the-stew. Now, story has it, and it's within the belief systems that we as Blackfoot people, and that the owl is in the same belief that you would have if a black cat runs in front of you. Okay? There seems to be this notion if a black cat goes in front of you, what is that? They're going to have some bad luck, right? Well, see, the black cat is not indigenous. The cat is nothing to us. You see a black cat, and I'll just probably kick it away or something. A seep-the-stew comes to visit you at your house, and it lands on your house, and it perches on your house. It's normally a message, not necessarily you think of, oh, it's a bad omen. That's the worst that you can think of that. But actually, if it starts to on top of your house and that, you're gonna have to wonder, what kind of news, ducks, and more than likely in that they're saying that, you're gonna hear some bad news. Right? And of course, with our values and our system, how we believe in those things, you start to believe that, that the owl is going to perch at your house, fly away, and say, okay, bad news or it's good news. But it's a messenger. See, well, Blythe, you want to add anything to that? Yeah, it's a messenger. For the most part, of that the beliefs out there means there's some bad news. But on the same token, if you're part of the ceremonial societies locally, the Bloods, these are part of the bundles. There are songs that we sing that are called secrets within those bundles. So it goes two ways, right? They're in the bundles and belief systems, and that they're also just a regular guy like me. It's a messenger of bad news. So that's something there. So I see this. That's an owl. Ganatsuki is your great horned owl. Ganatsuki. Yeah, Ganatsuki. Ganatsuki is one ear. If you look at the great horned owl, one of his ears is going to be longer than the other. Ganatsuki. That's why maybe looks at you like this all the time. Ganatsuki. Isn't that the animal of the bird of Canada or no? The great horned owl? What is our bird of Canada? What's our, I know the beaver, but what's our bird, our national bird? Anybody? Huh? The Canada goose. Oh, of course, the Canada goose. The Canada goose. Okay, so those are the birds, right? But did we go through all of them? Kristen, you want to hit too fast?
Did I?
Yeah, we're only on the second. We didn't do the last one, right? The burrowing owl. Burrowing. Matasi. Matasi. Anybody know if this is an extinct animal? Not yet? Is there still some? It's an endangered species, right? Yeah. A guy can see coming. Yeah, so that's another animal that I've never seen. And they're native to our area, right? I've never seen them. Not like they're probably as big as your hand, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's Matasi. Now understand some of these birds, because we don't see them enough. You know what's not there, and I have no idea on how to say these names, is a turkey vulture. A turkey vulture it's indigenous animal here, right? It's from here. It's called a turkey vulture. I don't know how to say that word. I've asked, and people, oh yeah, that's right. There were turkey vultures back in the day, in the days of the buffalo. And I do believe if you want to see one, you go to the birds of prey, right? Over in Kotok. They got a couple over there. Hey! Huh? They're here? Where? The weird. They're there. Really?
When I was like, they're behind it.
How do they look?
They nest at a residence on 7th Avenue South and about.
No way.
16th Street.
They're right here in the city.
They love,
Or if it goes up, right? You hear that? They're here in the city. Huh? You know what? Well, they're not out there because there's nothing to eat out there on the res. So they come here in the city here and start eating McDonald's and A&W and lots of good scraps. Hey, interesting. I'm gonna look for some too because somebody was telling me, he said, if you go and travel to the little town called Foremost, there's some there. And there's lots of roadkills, lots and lots. Deer and even those antelopes get run over. They're there, right? I'd like to see one. What color are they? Are they black? They look like a turkey, right? That's why they call them a turkey.
Completely bald, no feathers, no head.
Oh, like a buzzard, eh? Yeah. Make a croissant there, Blanche. Oh, tea, no, yeah, but there's. Oh, that's yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, that's why they're bald. They stick their head into the carcasses. Okay, so crow, mate stew. Mate stew. Do we have names of crow? Yes, we do. Crow chief, mate stewina. Crow spreads his wings. I can stew, but crow spreads his wings. Oh, meat gate stew, of course, yeah. Famous crow. Crow chief. Oh, of course, it's just the name crow, huh? Mate stew. Mate street bowing, right? When this crow spreads his wings. Mate street bowing. That's when yeah. In order to that crow to spread his wings, it probably how much to bow, say, mate street bowing. Hello. How many do we have? Million?
So many.
Million and one? Okay. Getting up there. So Canada goose, our Canadian national bird. We call that opspinny. 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 The first part of that word, remember the word we use for a winter weasel? White. Okay? That's the first part. That's the first part. Opspinny. It talks about, if you look at the Canada goose, right here is their cheek. It's white. Opspinny. So we're talking about the white cheeks of the goose. Right? Opspinny. Very pretty bird. Eh? Opspinny. Oh, I've never had a Peking duck. I'm gonna go ahead and have one more plate. So opspinny. The first part of that word is the white. Anything to do with a white, we use that word weasel. Okay? White opspinny, right? White cheeks, right here. And of course, sa-ah. Sa-ah. You gotta put that glottal stop. Remember that little hyphen in between words? You gotta close that glottal right here. Okay? Sa-ah. Say sa-ah. You know, it almost talks about the actual noise that a bird would make, that bird, right?
Because the Blackfoot language is
very descriptive. Yeah. So, you know, when you hear those as, it's almost like we're describing the noise that they make. It's not quack, quack. You know, it's something else. Daffy and all his buddies. So it's so it's almost describing the noise of the animal and that, right? Something like that. So those are some of our birds, lots and lots and lots of birds out there. Go. Which one? Oh, it's over there. Did we have a magpie in there somewhere? Did we miss that? Oh yeah, Mimya Tsikimi. Mimya Tsikimi, it talks about the scattered color of there's no real pattern of the Mimya Tsikimi. It's just like it's a bird that has very mixed colors and stuff like that, right? And then of course it's kind of the smaller version of a turkey vulture, right? It eats just about anything you throw out there. They're having such a buffet out there with gophers on the road. A prairie parrot. No. You know, a lot of the animals that are here and that, as the settlers were coming in here, that was probably the first time they've ever seen maybe a magpie, right? Peacock, bird, chicken. You know, because we've never actually seen the animals they brought. Remember? We've never seen Aputskina. That's totally foreign. So we call it the white horns. And then we see a pig, what is that, right? And eggs in it, eats anything. And then a flightless bird, yeah, Nitawaki. Yeah, that's something new in us. We have to give them names though. But these are already our names. Mimiat Sikimi. That is the magpie. Mimiat Sikimi. Oh, it's just a annoying bird if you're trying to sleep, eh? They're just right outside here. They're really not that sleep in here. Yeah, if you want to, to have talking parrots, well, that's if you catch a Minyat at a very early age. I've never seen a chick, but you can actually teach them to talk in Blackfoot, not English, Blackfoot. They don't talk English, and they don't understand. I'm just going to yeah, so that's the thing. All these animals here, they don't understand English. These are indigenous animals. So when they're probably really curious, what kind of people are there not people here? Oh, okay. Oh.
And as soon as they come out, it starts talking. And what I say a lot is, you've got a really beautiful voice, which is always why.
Oh, I got a quick throwing garbage outside. Okay, so these are all indigenous birds, right? These are Kitoki. Kitoki, that's the prairie chicken or the grouse, right? The grouse. In our Blackfoot dancing, you must have gone to powwows and they say, we're gonna get the chicken dances tonight. But it's really a prairie chicken dance. It's like an imitation. They're saying it's a mating dance, and it's not a mating dance. What they're doing is that they have this kind of a dance where they kind of really shake like this, right? And they go around and they shake with their feathers, something like that. Well, when we started chicken dancing, and we threw that into the mix, right? And we started shaking the drums like this. And then the dancers, and then when you hear that shaking sound, they start shaking about. It's they're dancing just like the prairie chicken, the grouse, and that's how it got its name, right? I used to play chicken dance. Yeah, hey, Tracy, remember in the day? I was a chicken dancer. And then I found out there's polyester shirts and bell-bottom jeans, and then I threw them out. Yeah, and I started. Oh, yeah, I had braids too. Yeah, I had long braids. Yeah, but you don't wear braids into the dance. You got to cut those off. So those are no. Tell me if I'm wrong. The prairie chicken, the grouse, there's only 10 left in Western Canada. Huh? The sage grouse. Yeah. So they figured by the end of the season, there's going to be no more sage grouse. In my lifetime, I never thought I'd see an animal go extinct. So that's an animal, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, has to be a teacher. So it's an animal in our lifetime that's going to be gone. The sage grouse, no more. That's something that, we all, the environment that we live in and that, because we want to keep moving forward with capitalism and so forth and that. But it takes its toll on the animals, right? And that's one animal. We're going to continue having the prairie chicken dances and so forth. I might come out of retirement, Tracy. Yeah. But I'm kind of trying to moonwalk, and that's included in my moves. Yeah, I used to prairie chicken. Western meadowlark, one of the most prettiest voices in the meadows. Oh, I just love to wake up in the mornings. Soxisings, long word, but that is the most prettiest song you can hear in the mornings and in the evening, right? We call them tsiskanipiks, the early morning bird, but they call them sortisis. Yeah, sortisis. What does that mean? Blank.
Stay.
Go.
Sitting on the fence post.
Sortisis. Yeah, sitting on a fence post. And then, of course, they go like that, eh?
But it's telling you your girlfriend's got lots of fat.
Kitaki kwam ikskay. Kitaki kwam.
Kitaki.
Oh, kitakim. Kitakim ikskay.
It's naive.
Istukutsinay. Okay, I know that's what, yeah. I've heard that. They said, listen to it carefully in that once the Soxisi starts. They're actually telling you something, right? Okay, it's all Yeah, you can apply any speech to these things in your Blackfoot language, right? Okay, that's the story. Yeah, that's the rumor. I want to teach my Soxisi stuff something else. Yeah. My girlfriend does not have a lot of that. Wait, hold on. We got a question. Hey, you guys stop me any time if you have any questions, Brian. Tsiskanipiks. Tsiskanipiks. Morning bird, early in the mornings. If you get up early in the mornings and have your porridge, whatever you're having, and sit outside. Boy, I get so lucky where I live. I have all kinds of birds. All kinds. Woo! They just about stand me. Oh, good idea. Just about got me in the nose. But I had a ring right here. Sortisis stuff. Oh, Tsiskanipiks, morning bird. That's right. You do have last names, and you're probably named after this Western meadowlark. Okay, it's morning birds. Yeah, there's a big family of them in Blacks. Tsiskanipiks. Ha! 50.
The middle art? Oh.
Tsiskanipiks. Yeah. Any questions over there? If you have any questions, audience out there, so Kristen will intervene and we'll stop the whole procession and we'll answer your question. How much time we have? Last time I talked so much, somebody told me, hey, 5 minutes. What?
We have an hour.
Huh.
It's 10 to 7.
Okay, good. I've got a whole hour. Yeah. So robin, is it an indigenous animal? Yes, it is. Utkuikayi. Utkuikayi is the orange right here. Utkuikayi. Orange chest, right? Utkuikayi. The utkuikayi is the orange, right? The kayi is right here. This part. Utkuikayi. And I tell you, with the rain that we had, there was hundreds of robins in my house. They were just like pecking around because with the rain falling on the ground, of course, what comes out of there? Worms, and they were just like, oh, they're going around. What kind of noise is it? I don't know. But it was just like eating all the big worms. They saved me a couple of them. So the raven, remember the word mace, what is that? The crow. Omgeetstu. Big crow, the raven. Omgeetstu. Now, some of these birds are winter birds. Esteemed. Esteemed here are the birds that do not migrate. There are some tough birds. Nemyatsikine, Omgeetstu, and this next one right here, Nipomaki. Yeah, Nipomaki. That is one tough bird, chickadee. You get to be minus 30, minus 40, and it's like flying around. Same with the Minyatsikine, right? They're just literally flying around in blizzards and they wouldn't mind. Hey, bring on the storm. Nipamaki and Omakis, winter birds, they don't migrate. So nature does not lie. We depend heavily on nature now, right? And we have to give them names with each new animal that comes into our community, and we have to give definition, and we have to give it a name, right? With all these animals. And as you notice in here, I don't have the word pheasant. Okay? A pheasant is another winter bird. It does not migrate, just like the peacock. Okay? So the peacock is a bird that's indigenous. Pheasants were actually brought here by the Chinese who were building the railroad. Okay? It's an animal from Asia, not from here. It's not indigenous enough. So when it came into southern Alberta, if you look at the flight pattern of a kituki, right, it's very low, right? And it's probably because, they really have to protect themselves and they're in the brush all the time, right? High grass. The pheasant, we call it bisatsi kituki. Bisat means fancy, a real fancy colored bird chicken. That's the name we gave it. Bisatsi kituki. I don't have it up there, but yeah. Because of the flight pattern. If you look at the flight pattern of a pheasant, it's just almost the same as a kituki, right? It's very low. And if you disturb these animals, they'll just sit as tight as they could, and just at the last moment, and then they fly, right within the feet. Well, same with the pheasant too, right? You won't fly, you'd rather run. It'll run away before it flies. And it's pretty fast, eh? They even go like, they come. So those are the birds. Lots and lots of other birds in that, because we do have names for all the different sa'ads, right? So any sa'ad duck, there's specific names for them and that, and we can sit here for another hour just talking about sa'ad. But I don't want to talk about that anymore. Salamander. A salamander, of course, it's an indigenous amphibian here. And we call it namski. Namski. What does that mean? Namski means it has no face. Namski. That's the translation. It has no face. So if you see a namski, it just seems like it has a mouth, eh? And it's got two eyes. It has no feature of a namski. I've had some in my house. I don't know why they're hanging around the house, but Dad, like, you go, listen here, namski, what are you doing? But yeah, that's what that means. No face. Namski. And there's names too, right? Is there anybody dying? This to know anybody understand namski? Bikani, that's where, yeah. That's where I heard that name. Yeah, it's a Blackfoot name out of Bikani. Yeah, and it's that old man understood Albert, little mustache. Yeah, namski, salamander. So when they started bringing their lizards, right? They started bringing in their lizards as pets, right? And they kind of look like our namskis, the salamander. So any lizard that you see out there, that's the same name we give those lizards, these non-indigenous namskis, right? If you look at their faces and that, similar, right? Very similar. So you see a lizard, your iguana, huh? There's iguanas in that. Well, that's a namski, great big, no face. Yeah, namski. So we use words that are ours to describe other foreign animals, non-indigenous animals. We don't borrow. We use our own language to describe these animals, right? Yeah, we don't. That's something that we don't do in that. Based on what we see, based on their character. One of the things that I had to come up with as teachers, we started going to the zoo, and there's an animal that has a big, long nose. And okay, what do you call that? Hey, Mr. Delaney, what do you call an elephant in black? Oh, wait, hold on, yeah, we have lots of elephants. We have names for them. So we had to come up with those names, right? Inuskisi, which means long nose, inuskisi, right? And then there's animals that have spots and they're quite high. They got long necks and so forth and that. Well, we call that a name. Oh, okay. Spatsikinek, which means long, tall legs. Not the neck, but the legs. Spatsikinek. So, you know, we're always inundated with these animals, and as Blackfoot language speakers come up with new terminology. And there's an animal that goes in the water, it seems to live under there, comes up and it breathes out of its nostrils, eyes pop up. Hippopotamus, Suraxinu. What's an exinu? Anybody? A pig. Exinu. Yeah, it's a water pig. Yeah. So is it eat anything? No, it's based on the noise it makes. Because it grunts just like a pig, right? Have you ever hear a hippopotamus? It's the same thing almost, but louder than a pig. Suraxinu. So, you know, there's all kinds of words out there. We all have to start coming up with them. Snake, bitsiksena, biksiksena, 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 biksiksena. Okay, I need to share this with you. Because the Bloods or Kainai were very much still have ceremonies, and there's different people that are part of different societies within our, we call Akukatsu, we call it Sundance. There are people within those societies that cannot say that word. Oh, they hear, you can't say it in front of them. So as I look around, even me saying it, I have to be very conscious that I'm not going to step on or offend that individual. And as I look around, there's nobody that practices or part of those religions. Okay? So make a mental note, Blackfoot speakers, right, on the audience. Be very mindful of words, especially that. And sister, yeah, which is a rabbit, right? Did I tell you about the story about the bear? You know, bears are not part of our regalias, and we do have a friendship that we had with the bear, right? Oh, the rattlesnake. Oh, it almost talks about the big snake. Oh, the rattlesnake. But over here it says, say is it says sikutui. Says sikutui. Says sikutui means it's the rattle. Sisikutui. Sisikutui. That means, you know, it has a rattle back here. Sisikutui. Those are our snakes. There's not a whole lot here to be very afraid of, but you know, did we have people that treat rattlesnake bites? Yes, we did. Yeah, there's herbs, there are, you know, roots out there. There are certain individuals, if you get a bite by a rattlesnake, yeah, you just go to that person and that'll fix you all up. You know, there's not a whole lot of stuff that you can get hurt or animals to hurt us, right? Our cats are, of course, the cougars. But other than that, boy, you know, like this was the most awesome, peaceful area you can live. You know, drink right straight from the waters of the river. Who drank from the river when they were young? Drank straight from the river, yeah. Yep. That wasn't that long ago. I dare you to drink that water today. Right? Oh boy. You know, it's that. Yeah.
So, you know, we're on the 509, if you're going on to highway #2.
Yep.
Right across from Albert's gas.
Yep.
There was a well. And just water you can come up and.
Yeah, Quick My Uncle Victor's house, yeah. Yeah, that water wasn't treated. Not put to, you call those wells Marxistum. Marxistum is what we call not Chester.
Going into the water and put the shot and the water.
Yeah, I don't swear it's a famous well, Kutu. There's right, if you guys travel if you travel on the 509, yeah, that's why our women were just tough to carry that water for miles too, right? It's tough to say not yet. Huh. Oh, okay. Ask her if Namski was the Blackfoot name. Noella, was your grandfather Albert? Was his name Namski? Yes or no? Hey, there was somebody that was related. Only Joyce. That's yeah. Yeah, we're all interwoven somehow. Small world. Krista, what did she say? Yes? Hey, we have some guests over there. Come on in. Yeah. Is it yes? No?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Oh, maybe she's born in the, what do they call it? Ancestry. I like to do that. You know, they say that, the Bigani, and I'll say this too, the smallpox hit the Bigani people more than any other of the populations among the Blackfoots. After the smallpox, that epidemic, okay, and there was only about 223 Bigani, about the Bigani. That was all that was left. So, and that's what they were saying is that, the Bigani started sort of intermarrying, with other Blackfoots so that, their numbers. Other than the Blackfoot Confederacy, the smallest number are the Bigani West. Yeah. And the biggest ones are the Amskata Bigani, right? Those are Browning, and then Gaina, me, us, and Sissiga, in that order.
Children that were not able to that were left orphaned by smallpox. They were put on trains and sent west and then put at different reserves. And that's how we got some non-native blood started on the different reserves. Was the orphan non-native children.
Or shipped away. Yeah.
West, and they were like placed in native homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who wants to know if it's south or north or any?
Well, it's the when you talk about the Bigani, okay, we're talking about the people of Scandinavia, right? The only reason why we have Scotty Bigani and Abaksa Bigani is the US-Canada war. That's all. They are the same people. So in essence, if you talk about the Confederacy as Bigani are one people, what happened is that we separated them with the United States and Canada. So these people up here, we call them Abaksa Bigani, the North Blackfoot. Oh, the North, excuse me. The North, wait, hold on. The North Scabby Road, and then of course the Southern Amskapots, Amskapipikari, okay? But they are the same people. They are the same people, Pikani. But when you talk about what happened to them, when they separated them, the larger portion of the Pikani were in Montana. And just at the very tip of it were left the Apache. So they're very small. They were saying that when they came onto their community, their reserve, there was just less than 200 of them. Yeah, because of the smallpox. Yeah, it's very small land base. Yeah. So when Canada started giving up our, okay, how big is your community as opposed to people? And you tell your agent or whoever, and based on the numbers, and that's how much land they give, right? Kind of like the bourgeoisie, right? Kind of give you a little bit of strips of land. Yeah, meat extra. Oh yeah, Rick Crow, he just he wasn't gonna stand for nothing. Now listen here, that no, no, but he was very instrumental why we still have akukats. Yeah, it was outlawed, but we kept it up. Are you filming me or am I? Okay, they're gonna have to. So as a community, as a civilization, as a society, right? We lived in communities. Within those communities, we had marriage, right? How were those arranged, right? So you have to think back almost 2 generations in that. Marriages as we know today in that, it's much more different than traditional style of marriage. Your spouse is decided by your parents almost 2 generations ago, okay? We're talking about my grandparents' parents, or even, I don't say my grandparents, because they told me that on my paternal side, no, his parents was an arranged marriage. Their parents decided this is going to be your spouse. My maternal, now what's yeah, and they were arranged marriage, right? So that's just like 2 generations ago. Those marriages were arranged, right? But because we were living within the laws of Canada, right? So those arranged marriages had to be ratified, and they would have to follow the Canadian government guidelines. You have to go to church. Your union has to be blessed, and then you would have to have a wedding, right? But the arrangements by those parents were decided by, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, if I was going to arrange a marriage with my oldest daughter, I'm looking for a millionaire. So, but back there, okay, now think about the culture that was, okay? Money was not part of their upbringing. The whole idea of commercialism, capitalism, money as now a form of buying, right? Well, that's something that we're just learning, right? Now, money, we have to create a whole new vocabulary of what it's called. We didn't have money, right? So it's something that was introduced to us to that. So can you imagine if we just throw away your dollar bills and it'll just give you something else, Bitcoin, huh? Then we have to learn that whole, that whole system of spending, right? Nobody spends money anymore. They just go on Wayfair. It's another one, right? So it was something that had to be introduced. That's the word for money. That which you buy with. Very descriptive, right? You call it money. Well, in your head, wow, money is money, and that, and you buy it. But we have to make a definition of this new ideas. So we take this, we buy it. So those people really didn't have that, I'm going to be rich, right? I'm going to go in an upper class and that. We didn't have class systems. Now remember that. There was no such thing as an upper class, a middle class, and a poor. We're all equal. If you look at even your leadership in that, but how do the leaderships in that maintain the respect that they have, right? Ennakutsin. Ennakutsin is a word meaning that we respect leaderships of right? It is not a constitution that was written and then said, okay, we all have rights. Enna kutis is something that we live by. In living by enna kutis, and we respect the authority of our parents and the experiences that they had. You know, they're in union. We can see them, you know, as they grow old, and they never separated until they go into their teepee, and they're probably headed out. But we can see that they got along, right, within the communities and that, right? So when they start to decide, well, this is going to be your new spouse and that, we have to respect that. Oh, because of the way they live, right? There was nothing that was written in the sense, okay, you want a good marriage? You just follow my book. I got 10 steps to a good marriage. But everybody lived in the sense, right? Those type of values and that. By living those values and that, it creates social norms, right? And those social norms we live by through a marriage too, right? Right? If you look at the system that we lived in when they first came into Canada, the head of state was, of course, the old system was who? The Queen, right? And the Queen, of course, if you go back further into the days of Henry VIII, well, they kicked out the Pope because the Pope at one time was the head of state. So they kicked him out, and then now the head of state is your king, you know, and the monarchy system, and that's what they brought over. So they had a hierarchy society, you know. Up here you got your high society, and then you got your middle class, and then so forth. And that you fit in these classes somehow. It's just that we never had that, you know. If I was to come across a blood camp, and I said, okay, who do you think is the chief over there? It's going to be the one with the biggest teepee. Right? That seems to be the mentality. He's the one with the biggest teepee. He's probably the one who guards too. He's guarding the teepee. It's not like that. He would be. You won't know where the chief lives, because you know this chief is right amongst the people, right? And if you wish to go talk to the chief, say Red Crow, and this is where OP comes from. But now, the Bryant is going to play Red Crow, right? I'm going to stand at the doorway of Chief Red Crow's teepee. There's no guards, right? Nobody's going to chase me away, right? And I'll say, now get up and okay. The moment she says okay, my goodness, that means welcome. And I come in the presence of Red Crow. Huh? I didn't have to make an appointment, right? I didn't have to go through the guards. He was right there. He's ready to listen to me. And I come with a good heart, right? Based on our calendar moons and that, and we're all blessed right now. If you look outside, the flower blossom moon, does it happen? Yeah. So I'm coming in here with a good heart. I'm not coming in there with you know what, we got to change some bylaws here, you know. So think of that society as a society of respect. Our parents, the leadership, right? And then when they started introducing religion and they said, okay, honor thy father and thy mother, and we already had those within our society. Our norms are already in there. We didn't have to learn something that was. We lived them. Yes, we didn't have to read this. Oh, this is how you're supposed to live. Okay, yeah, we know that. We lived in a very homogeneous, very stable society with leaderships and our parents and that. So your mother, your dad, and so where is your new husband? You're not going to dispute that, huh? No, you're gonna go with it. You're gonna go, hey, and you're gonna make sure that this union that you're gonna have to make everybody happy. You know, the community is gonna know, oh, there's a new couple over there. Hey, you know, throw confetti, you know, or is that dirt? Yeah, so you know, it was those type of people we're talking about, right? When you think about, wow, you know, that's very primitive in the sense. Well, it worked. It has worked and it continued to work up until, of course, you know, the written bylaws that we all have to abide by. And society, we're driven by, of course, the media, right? Wants and so forth and that. So, when you say my wife, you say, men, nitkiman. Nitkiman. Another way to say that, Kristen, what happened to her? Okay, now the second one is nitpitam. Yeah, nitpitam. Okay, so nitkiman or nitpitam. You know what? It's your wife, my wife. Okay, nitpitam. Okay, what happened to her? Nitpitam and nitkiman. So those are two words that describe my wife. Okay, me. In any first person language, if I'm talking about my wife, I would say ni, nitkiman, nitpitam, na. Second person wife is gitpitam or gitkiman. Okay? Gitpitam, second person, nitpitam. And him and I are talking, and there's a third person over there. Uppitam, ooh, uppitam, uppitam. Ni, first person, point to yourself, ni. He, second person. Ooh, point away, third person. Yeah? So ni is always going to be first person. Nippitam, gippitam, and uppitam. Ooh. Okay? Here's another example, real quick. I'm just going to say, nisopats, my chair. He supats, second person chair. Supats, third person chair, right? Ownership. Me, he, and ooh. So think of that. Me, your ownership is yours. Gi, second person. Ooh, third person. Okay, so nippitam, gippitam, and uppitam. Okay? Now, husband. That's what I are. That's what I is, and I was. Now, the most easiest way to say my husband is say no. No. Yeah. Is there a company called Noom up there too? Yeah, Noom. Noom? He's gonna help me get skinny. I am pretty skinny already. Noom. Say that. Okay, now just say second person, what it would be. Groom. Yeah, groom. Third person. Om. Yeah. No. Go. Oh. Wait, now the second way of saying my husband, this is when you are my age. These are the elders when they introduce their husbands. Ninapi. Yeah, ninapi. So if you're older, that's old. 70? 90. Okay, if you're 90 years old, this is what you say. Ninapi. Okay? This is the elderly couple that you see out there. That old lady's not going to say, hey, here's my new. He's going to say Ninapi. Yeah. These are couples that have lived together for 50 years. 75th anniversaries. Ninapi. Yeah. That's two ways of saying it. But if you're young, you're still visiting, just kind of still wearing your bell bottoms. This is my new. Yeah, new. Young person, right? I'm at the age right now, I think I would be Ninapi. Yeah, Ninapi. Is that an older gentleman? Said. But if I was young, like, who's a young man here? What's all? Yeah, this guy's a young man. See what's saying? New. There's my new. grew. Now, okay. It's out there, right? It's out there. Same-sex marriages. Okay? Now, growing up, I knew two individuals and they grew up into their 80s and that's in Spitaya. Oh, sige. Sige, na su. Chipa. Sige. Otamyakumi was one of my favorite uncles. And he was what we would call awakuminni, right? Would you say that? Two-spirited. Now, think about the society that was. Norms, right? When you have people within our communities that are two-spirited, they are part of our community. There is nothing that asks of us to say, we're going to ostracize you because this is the way it's very well acceptable, right? There's nothing that we don't accept of a person. He's part of our community. And it will say, well, awa kuminni lunex or awa kuminni atiks. Hey, that's what he loves. He loves to be the way he's at. And as community people, now you come to respect that because I grew up with that. Now, kinakaya heavy shield, kaya anista. So there's two individuals that are still, one of them is still around, and it's everybody's uncle. Yeah, I understand. Jordan Heavy Shields. Hey, Jordan, if you're in the audience, okay, I just thought. I grew up with these gentlemen, and how they behave themselves, how the community interacted with them. There was not once did I ever see an ostracization where they were excluded as part of the community. They were part of our community very much. Nobody teased them. Nobody. They were pretty much, and if you misbehaved yourself and Utamifkumi or Jordan was sitting there, they would correct you. And I would respect that.
They were cherished people.
Oh.
They were.
Wait.
Email.
Humble. Listen to this.
They were very cherished members of the clan that we came from, because we saw them as like I said, two-spirited people. They had both brain, the use of both their sides of brain, male and female. They were cherished as healers, as herbalists, as clothing designers, homemakers. They were very, very intricate, part of their plan. And if, like today, you go to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, these people, these two-spirited people would be at that level of education today. In the days of before contact. So the males that were two-spirited were really looked upon as like a very special person in that clan. They were so cherished that other clan members from the rest of the Blackfoot Confederacy would come to them for healing, for medicines, for psychological mentoring and stuff like that. Or if there was going to be a special occasion, they would be utilized as like I said, garment designers.
Go to brother-in-laws now. That's wife, husband, and then brother-in-law. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Jordan is still like that. He's pushing 90 in his 90s. A lot of people still go with him. He's just that. He's got that magnetism.
Hey, awesome. Huh? It's always good to have that perspective, right? Bunch we grew up in probably the same era. I grew up as a child in the 60s. Blanche was probably a teenager in the 60s, We made those transitions. What do you think about the communities our community as opposed to the community on the outside. As times went ahead, we were always parallel, right? When the cars were introduced into our society, well, yeah, so did us. When the telephones were introduced to us, well, same with us. All these new ideas, we were there. The Indian people were there, right? And of course, the language had to adapt to that. We had an ancient language that was the buffalo, and then we had new systems of government, new systems of policing, new systems of money. Those things and that were just carried on from the old country, right? But we had to adapt and learn all these new ideas and that. That was something that was we had to adapt to, huh? Yeah, right? Yeah. In-laws, my favorite subject. Understand, your father-in-law, ladies, you are not to talk or be in the same household, the same vicinity as your father-in-law. You don't even make eye contact. If I was sitting in here, I'm talking, and my mother-in-law came in here, I would have to leave. Or she would have to leave. That was the old days. That's how much respect we have for our in-laws. We just cannot be in the same room, in the same dwelling. It's just taboo. That's just something out of respect. You know, that let's say we're going to have a family Christmas dinner. Well, we never had family Christmas, but let's say we're going to have a gathering. You know, and all of a sudden my mother-in-law and my father-in-law comes walking in, particularly my mother, right? I'll be happy to see my father-in-law. But if I see my mother-in-law and then she's in the same room, I'm going to duck out that door right there and leave. Yeah, and in the days of the teepee, your mother-in-law comes into the front door, I make a big rip and then you start out. No, that's just how much respect we have. It was just not allowed. It was taboo. You just weren't allowed to be in the same room as your father-in-law, ladies, men. That's how much respect we had of our in-laws. Ninachs. 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 The word nina is in there. You just have to extend the A. Ninachs. Now, that's your father-in-law. Ninachs. You know, and I love our father-in-law stories. And all you do with he, yours, he, right? He ninachs. He ninachs. You just change the K to the N from there. And then her or his father-in-law is O ninachs. Remember that O ninachs. You better leave. Here comes your father-in-law. Okay, so that's your father-in-law. Ninachs. Does that happen today? No, it does not. I think we have to think about how far back did that happen. I think my mother, I think we have to go to my grandparents. Well, that generation live in that generation, that belief value system, or you're not in the same room. Now, imagine when they first started giving us houses. One of the programs they had is that they started building communities. And one of the first communities was a place called Moccasin Flats. Right? That's what they call Moccasin Flats. Salki is a flat, right? And today it's called Moses Lake. I don't know why they call it Moses. The community of Moses Lake is one of the first places where they had housing programs. And these houses were no bigger than from here to probably Blanche where he's sitting. And it just had one entrance door and it's just a one room house. So, and I heard stories when they started moving into these houses and that the lady started with Mary, right? And it would bring in her husband into those households and that. What do you think happened? Well, what they did is they just put a blanket halfway through in the house and that so that there's mother-in-laws on the other side and son-in-laws on this side. never see them. That's just something that you don't do. No, it was very strict. And it's not something that was written in stone. It was just something that we lived at. It was the social norms of those societies, right? I'd love to have to go back, never to see my mother-in-law again. That's me. Hey, I didn't mean that. So, that's where we came from. We've come from a society that was, the language is still there, those values are still there, and that we just live in a society that's 2024, right? We're all parallel, we all are introduced with the cell phones. In 1972, I got to see my first color TV, right? You all grew up with Ed Sullivan, right? You all grew up with Carol Burnett. Well, so did I, The culture of those people are still there, and that we're just adapting to these new ideologies, right? Hey, where is my slide? You don't look like, where's Kristen? Hey, here we go. Brother-in-law. Now, this is how you say it. Men, your wife has brothers. So those are your brother-in-laws, okay? And you say, Nistamokku. Yeah, that's your wife's brothers. Nistamokku. They're your brother-in-laws, right? Nistamokku. Now, you have sisters, they're going to marry, right? So now you have a brother-in-law, your sister's husband. Nistamu. Nistamu, right? Nistamukku is your wife's brothers. Nistamu is your sister's husband. Okay? That's the difference. They're saying they're Nistamu. The only difference is that it's your wife's brother is get that K-O. Nistamukku. I'd say, how many Nistamus do I have? How many else? Who's all my Nistamus? There's Rudy, Paul. That all? Oh, I just have two. Huh? Yeah, and you're single. Huh? I gotta say it out loud. See my sister over there? She's my sister. She's single. Put your face on the camera. Let the people see. I'm gonna make arrangements here. I'm the oldest of my family. I'm gonna make them look for a nice millionaire. I want to go back to the old days. My sister over there. No, let's Mr. Mukku and Mr. Moo. We're a very humorous society. That we don't, our entertainment as far as, if you want to entertain yourself, man, you just go to a group of men or ladies and listen to them engage in Blackfoot. Within their stories, within the dialogue that they're going to share, is where the entertainment comes. Because Blackfoot is a very pictorial type of language. You can actually hear it, right? It's like looking at a good novel from, you can actually, he's going to go on with this person. And Blackfoot's like that. And these stories are so descriptive and that it just kind of you can picture it right here. Very descriptive. Yeah. Yeah. It could be the most sorrow, saddest moments in your life and that, but there's still that humor to get you through that and that. And there's individuals that have that knack to tell stories and that. It takes you away from that sorrow. Good stories. Brian over here, he's going to hire me for Calgary. I'm going to go work for Calgary. Brian wants me to go tell stories. Yeah, come see me. I got a story of this man named Zach. Okay, he's got these beans. Right? He's trying to sell these beans and that. He doesn't want to. Nobody wants your beans, so he throws them out. The next morning wakes up and there's a beanstalk. Plant knows. So, storytelling is, of course, a dialogue. In order for these relationships, that we need to hear them and we need to live them, right? So marriages were something that was part of our societies, part of our civilizations and that. But the union depended on the community and the encouragement of us to abide by those values, right? Don't go see, don't be in the same vicinity as your mother, right? We don't want to be doing those things. Everybody had roles. Okay, so brother-in-law, a female. Now, I think there's only one word for that, right? So your brother-in-laws are your nitutuyum. Yeah, nitutuyum. That's what that means. Nitutuyum is your far-away husband. That's what that means. Nututu. Remember that word nu? It's part of that word. It's the suffix part of the word nu. My far away or my secondary husband. Did you know, everybody share this with you, that we practice polygamy as well, too? We had many wives, too. Yeah, we did. Yeah, well, what happened is that, okay, it's something that wasn't that we practiced religiously or something that was indoctrinated. It was a practice where we knew that men will perish. Whether they go on a hunting expedition, whether they're going to go out to do something happens to men sometimes, and they die, right? So when they come back from the, see you all, hope you all enjoyed yourself. You guys got curfew? Yeah, I understand. I had curfew one time too. It's called residential school. Anyways, how polygamy works is this. This is my brother right here. Okay, this is him and I. We share the same bloodline, and him and I, we are both married. Okay, I myself, I'm going to go on an expedition in that. And somewhere along the line, maybe my horse stumbled or I got killed somehow and drowned in the river. I didn't come back. He would take that responsibility to take on my wife, Nipitan. And he would take them in during the days of the buffalo, so that my wife will not be a widow left without something to eat, without somebody taking care of. He would be taken care of by this individual. So he will have two wives. Okay? And that's how that works. And nobody's left behind. His children are going to have somebody to look up to. He's going to make sure that my wife is going to continue having something to eat, a lodge, right? That's how polygamy works. Not like the Mormon polygamy where, it's within the religion. It's something that within the society, to keep it that nobody's left behind. It's very calm. We stop and stop you, right? Stop and stay back. It's very, everybody just moved forward. Nobody was left behind. That's how that worked. Okay, get it? Our many wives and that. So, nitutuyum is my secondary husband. That's what that means. Or my far away husband. Because you're going to be taken care of. You're not going to be left behind. And then male, nitutuhkima. Yeah, your sister-in-law is nitutuhkima. And I think I had one sister-in-law. Yeah, just one, nitutuhkima. Now, back in the days, and I have to say, if her husband accidentally gets trampled on by a buffalo or whatever, I would take in her family as part of mine, right? That's how that works in that. I think it's called mutual life insurance, eh? So you do tohkima. Hey, next. We're just about done, eh? So we're just going to go back to ni. Any prefix that has the beginning of ni is always going to be first person. You. Ni. Huh? Nipita. Nitu tuhkima. Nitu tuyum. Ni, right? Any prefix sound that has a K is always going to be a second person, right? Second person, gi. And then the third person is going to be a ooh. Okay? Ooh. When we talked about family the last time, the family structures, okay? We have Nina, then we have Niskan, Nisis, and Nits, and that, okay? My little brother, men, you say Niskan. I'm up in Niskan, okay? Your little brother, a little sister, Niskan, right? Third person, Uskan. That's how that works. Nin, my dad, Nin. Gin, your dad. On, their dad. His or her dad. We really don't have a word for she or him, right? We just say the word and we have to make reference to that person that we're talking about, right? Blanche, one, right? Her dad, right? Is doing Min. Or Tracy, on. If I just say on, and you're looking around, there's no subject. You got to make sure that you put a subject in there before you say that. On, right? Okay, how much time we got?
You've got 7:42.
7:40.
So
That's about what? 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Woo! Any questions? Even going back to the animals. Tim always has a question. Wait, hold on. What are words? Someone have another cake. What's that?
You said it's the pixie.
Yeah, it's three peaks. You don't know winter birds.
But then I said my sleeping.
What's that?
My
Mates.
sleeping.
Miatsikini. Miatsikini. Magpies. So think of all the winter birds. One tough bird, Miatsikini. Break them down. Meetstu, it's not. But Ochteistu, winter bird. Nipomaki, I love that bird. Nipomaki, the chickadee. And of course, another one here that was never migrates is the what? Geetapee. Tough bird, Geetapee. And Gosha, I've had some. I've ate a Geetapee. Yeah, they're very good. So that concludes. Over here. Woo-hoo. Money? Okay, I'll spell it for you. I wish I had money. I'll spell it for you.
You have first person singular is me.
Yeah.
Second person. But what about plurals? Like
Plurals. That's something we didn't do. Everything that we've introduced here is all singular. And fail to put plurals because, of course. Okay, so the most common suffix sound in plurals is a, and you spell it like this, K-S-R. Okay? So, if I'm a Nina, Nina. Nina, okay? A woman, Gi. Plural, geeks. Okay? Then we have Pita, Pitex. Okay? Pitex is that sound. Okay? And there's also, of course, the plurals, like there's me and there's us, right? Okay. What would it be a prime example? Okay, let's say my dad is a nin, okay? But if it's plural, and there's, like the two ladies over there and myself, if we say our dad, we'll say ninnan. Nan would be plural, but it's exclusive. It's just our dad. Ninnan. Now, everybody in this room, we all have a dad, and his name is Justin Trudeau. Gimnoon. Okay, everybody. That's everybody's dad. Okay, Gimnoon. Non, plural, but it's exclusive. Ninnan, right? Nin, just my dad. Ninnan, non would be just plural, but it's exclusive. Noon is everybody right here. Gimnoon. Now, right over here on the Stafford Drive, and you turn off 5th Street, and there's a gas king. The next set of houses is called Gugunnu. Gugunnu means our home. Everybody's Gugunnu. If it was just my home, no Guwai. But if it was our home and exclusive from you guys, how would you say that? Gugunna. Gugunna. Yeah, that's our home. But it's everybody's home now. Gugunnu. What would be a mother? Nixus, Nixus, Sinna, and Nixus, Sinnu. Who would be everybody's mother? Danielle Smith, eh? That's everybody's mother. Nixus, Sin. Huh? Oh, there's no more queen. Yeah, they were still alive. Sinnu would be the queen. Yeah, it would be our mother too. No, everybody's. Nixus, Sinnu, right? This building belongs to everybody, right? So this would be Gugunnu or Itunyo or some, what do they call this place again? Right? That's what this place is called. So think of that. There's plurals to the animals, plurals to individual ownership, plurals that are just us exclusive, and there's plurals where we all own them, right? Well, Canada, for instance, right? When we say Gitsakuminna, it means this is our land, right? Gitsakuminnu, everybody's land, right? But an old Blackfoot word, I'm going to share this with you. When we say this area is our land, we say Nitauchsinna. Nitauchsinna. What does that mean? The word Nitauch means this is the area that provides us with our food, our shelter, and our clothing. Nitauchsinna, right? Not the land, but the area that we occupy provides us with three basic necessities. Nitauchsinna, right? Not the land, but the area. Nitauchsinna. Yeah, that which sustains us, right? So it's different to say that, oh, this is our land. Oh, okay. This land is your land. This land is mine.
Yeah.
So, the old Blackfoot word for land is not necessarily what we have underneath us in that, but what it provides us with, right? Eat, eat, clothing, yeah, well, eat, right? Shelter, eat, right? If I just say this is our land, oh, okay, see all this? That could be one of these stages will be all yours. So, our whole ideology, we had to kind of switch it from what was the Dalsinu to now the land. Right? The dirt. Yeah. Right? So, when we're doing animals and that, we all understand that animals, nature does not lie. It's something that consistent. Next, full moon is going to be on the 23rd. Misam Suta, is it going to rain? Long rains? Well, who knows? I'd love to see that. Long rains. I'd love to. And you know what, too? In July, when a Pakpi, no, Okonoki, Sutitaitsi, in my house, and that, not too far from that, I have a coulee, all full of Saskatoons. The last 5 years, there's been nothing on those trees. Nothing. The hundreds, they're the ones that they have nothing to pick anymore. Those blueberries are nothing. The flowers come out, but when they're supposed to blossom and come out in July, there's just nothing. It's just an empty brush of Okanoki. So, so those calendar moves that we say that don't lie to us and that, well, they're starting to change. They're starting to change a little bit for that. The long rains that are going to be, within our prayers, and we give thanks that we're walking on green grass. We're seeing the many birds that have come back home. Well, yeah, those things have happened, but there's other things, right? Are you waiting? Maybe you have a question. Come up here. Say again? Many wings. Akemin. Akemin. Akeminyati. Huh? I'll spell it for you, yep. It's in the class, yeah. It's about that long. Okay, any more questions? No. One more thing. When Red Crow, when he was given the task of signing a treaty, somebody told him, okay, you're going to be signing a treaty with this Nazi coincident. What are you going to use for your own well-being for the community? And what did he use? Okay, as long as the sun shines, as long as the rivers flow, as long as the what's another one? The grass is green, the grass grows. Those were his measurements that he told the Napikans that you will not break these, So he used nature, because nature does not lie. Right? So he knew that. If I could just use nature in a sense to measure, there, so that these trees are going to be binding. Right? I'm going to use nature as mine. Yeah. As long as that, we have the mountain ranges too. Yeah? So all those things, he used nature in a sense to bargain with the crown at that time. Because nature does not lie to us. I don't think there's going to be a day that the sun, the same sun that we have, we call it Natusi. Natusi. What does that mean? The Holy One. Natusi is a name we give Natusi. The moon, Kumi Isum. Isum is another word for light in the sky, right? Gu is night. So it's the night sky, So, those things we use as, in essence, say, okay, next full moon, are we going to have long rains? Well, yeah, hopefully, yeah. We're going to have a flood? Well, I'm going to start building my ark. Yeah, so, any more questions? Tracy? Yeah. Any questions over there?
Okay, so you said, how did you say those houses by a gas, what were they called? Okay, but then, don't you say, my daughter, my girl, my baby, so the house.
Is our home.
Our. It's very inclusive, the noon. Oh, yeah. It's totally different. Yeah, kukuna, and I think we discussed this. If you're calling out to your daughter, you say, kukuna. Kukuna. That's something they call out. Yeah, it's a totally different word from kukunu.
I called that Tatiana. Then we, kukuna.
Yeah, kukuna. Yeah. Yeah. Now, the word house, it's another new word we had to develop on that because we didn't live in houses, right? We lived in nituyas. The reason why we call it nituyas because we have to contrast what we live in now, right? At one time, a teepee is just a moyes. So any lodging, whether it be a beaver lodge, whether it be an eagle nest, is a moyes. It's a dwelling, right? So when we started moving from a moyes, which is a teepee, to a napuyes, we had to create a new vocabulary for teepee, the contrast between the two, right? So a teepee is now called nituyas, which is a new word, which we take nitsitapi, the true people, and moyes to create nituyas, the true person house. Napuyas is a word we use. Napukwan is the word we use for the white man. Moyes, we create yes. Yeah, white man house, yeah. But then I talk about what we call the not one, the true meaning. It's not necessarily like I did, yeah. Okay. If you missed it, it's on YouTube. We do have, it's a descriptive language, what we call the white man. And it's not white man, it's completely, it's a very descriptive, what we see in the not one, and we gave it a name. Any more questions? You guys got curfew? Blanche and I went to residential school, so that wasn't that long ago. I went to residential school and at grade 4. I was 8 years old. I was 8, 9, 10, and I left. The residential schools back then weren't as harsh as our parents, and that I think Blanche can attest to that. And if you really want to read about that generation, read the Truth and Reconciliation book of that. Oh my goodness, that just chokes me up listening to those stories. Hey, it wasn't so bad when I was just a loneliness, but yeah. Any more questions?